January 2024 with the Lovelocks in Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails. Yes, I'll start with the standard introduction. This is where we live at 22 Armitage Court in Sunninghill, with warning signs about fierce guard cats. You may see one soon. This spot here was Robin's Corner, where GPS was tested from the late 1980s. That's the garden sculpture that June got me for a birthday present a couple of years ago. That's the oak tree that sprung up from an acorn. Yes, lots of cameras everywhere. And that's June's car. Yes, promotion of the website that was a business decades ago and is now just hobbies and charitable causes. And yeah, one of the projects from last year, but this one is mostly about what happened in January, but mostly the pond work. Yes, that's the Christmas fairy that was late being finished, and other videos show these things. Before I go into the house, I'll just point out the camper that was used to take Snoopy's robot boat down to the coast. Battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Wouldn't want any of that to be changed in terms of repair. And I've got to give warnings about health and safety before we go into the house now. So yes, there are cameras everywhere, but not just cameras. Warning signs, and you have to read the small print carefully. Home of mad ex-NATO scientists that talks about water squirters. Right, so now into the house carefully, and some of this may be of use to guys into property maintenance, but there's a lot. This was starting to get clear in the games room. However, more important work, grabbing the time of the opportunity, is repair of the pond that's been overdue. That's most of it. Here is one of the guard cats. This one is Bentley. His home is opposite, but he does spend a lot of time here training air cat Toadie, that's probably asleep upstairs, and training him, and also looking after the property. Right, the women right now are upstairs, so that's a good time to shoot this. This is the lounge, which isn't quite as bad as the rest of the house. And what I've got on the screen here is from a newsletter, just a little section talking about the garden pond, and that's dominated what I've spent my time on over the last few weeks, basically January. This is Robin's naughty corner, where he tends to hang out watching things like closed circuit TV, things like that. Not watching it live so much as playing back to see what's happened. Right, now we're going to, at great risk of tripping up, because eventually with the right tools progress was made. Oh yes, the three wise Robins. So in recent months progress has been made, basically this area, in order that gifts that I've been given, like from my sister, lots of other things, were put in better places rather than dotted around the garden. But the main activity has been fixing the leak in the pond, which for years now has been dropping about 6 inches. You can get an idea how far it's dropped there. Bit of paint. And I made the mistake last year of trying to do it after things have started to grow. So winter is the time. We've been very lucky with the weather. So tools for the job, you'll see that. This was bought quite recently in the last few years, which is a pond vac vacuum cleaner, and that's been useful. There you can see some of the mud, and there was, before actually fixing the leaks, one has to clear the stuff out, and that has influenced the order I did things. So this is a bit of a garden tour. Yes, past the telescope that hasn't seen attention for years, and the key thing is, the strategy, if you call it that, is to say, where do we put the wildlife, especially if we get interrupted. So we now have a third pond. June says it's a temporary pond, and it's also the area of the bog garden. Yes, that's the giant rhubarb, and in here we have, down there, one surviving goldfish. So it looks like the heron took all of their fishes in the last year or two. Now, the stuff I've got here are the tools I'm using for the work. And we now have a stream. Oh yes, this is our cat, Toady. He's the guard cat of the house, and he tends to take an interest in anything that is going on. He can be useful sometimes, but most of the time he's not. Okay, he'll probably follow me around, which tends to stalk things. Thrown some white stones down here. That's the old boat seat that was there. Lots of ideas on what we might do. It's a question of doing the things in the right order. That's the sundial. Right, I could complete the tour of the garden. It's been done in other ones, but I'm trying to make this relevant to what has been going on in January. It's the activity that's taken most of my time. That is the siphon, and when it's primed it can empty the pond in about 10 minutes, perhaps 15, and of course muddy water will flow out into, I've called it the duck pond, but it's where we can basically dump wildlife. But when we found something like a fish or something, it was only one, then that's where the bottom, they can go in the bottom pond. And I put that gate in order to make it easier to throw stuff in there, depending on the method we're using, but typically ladling stuff up. And of course you have other bright ideas. That is a bird feeder, but it might allegedly have things like meat on it in case red kites take an interest in the garden. So, quick glance of, yes, we've got snowdrops coming up. It's all a matter of grabbing the chance to do work. There's the compost heap we've had for some time, patched, and junk heap here. Lots of junk will be thrown away when there's time to do it. And in here, yes, garden tools and materials. Get set up. That little tool shed was put together, but the key philosophy is for things to be in the open. So yes, lots of different saws and hammers and things, but sorting out, for example, that strimmer wasn't working, but it can be thrown or perhaps fixed by somebody or given to somebody to fix. And oh, one thing I didn't point out, a very important thing is that, and June's bright idea was hawthorn. So yes, that's Toady again. Hello, Toady. Birds like to nest in hawthorn, so we've been able to plant hawthorn trees, including small ones like a hawthorn hedge. So this corner, hopefully, birds will choose the nest. So we've had lots of nest boxes and things for ages in the garden, but nothing has taken up on it. Well, I'll chase you since you're chasing everything else. Yes, I was starting to complete the tour around here. As I say, this is important for anybody going to help with maintenance, and maintenance is not so much simple things like mowing a lawn. It's putting things in the right place. So our laboratory has become very untidy, even though we do have drawers, but things have to be sorted out. And the key thing is, if somebody needs to find something, it could be tools, materials, or whatever, it's no good trying to remember in one's head where it is. Ideally one says, go down the garden and look. So for example, I've said this before, saws, lots of saws, and before throwing them away we better find out which ones are good, and some may have sentimental value, like from my father or June's father. And of course some of these things are being used as we work. Yeah, even got a vice in there, that was the last job I did. So all of this stuff has to be tidied up, but right now we're into the 1st of February today. I've got pub lunch with my grumpy old friends and neighbours. It's been a case of doing the right thing. So yeah, that's June's greenhouse. May as well see that as well. That's not too bad. Yeah, she's got a heater there. Oh yes, you're going to get incredibly bored with this. Around the side of the house, yes, another hawthorn tree planted in there. All places that birds might choose to nest. We get a lot of birds coming for the feeders. And then around the side of the house, through that, somewhere to keep some of these sort of materials. There's the taps. Yes, leaking. So the taps are very important for the work we're doing. Spare materials, often rubbish. Ladder June got, and then we're back to the front of the house, just here. Yes, long boring tour on video, but nowhere near as boring as the photos will be. But of course there's all sorts of things tucked away. Alright, here we go. Yes, that table was given us by the settled Indian family in the village. Hello, Toadie. So I think now might be a chance to give a demonstration of one of the tools. Not this one, it's too difficult to do with cameras, but what I'll do is I'll hopefully prime the siphon. Now the hose here, I haven't switched the taps on yet, can be used to top up the pond, and there's other sources for that, but also used to prime the siphon. And when the siphon is working, the water drains out and into the next pond, so-called duck pond, and down into the stream to the bottom pond. And of course, when we were doing it earlier, we could have that there to catch anything important like fish, and there weren't any. Other than one. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can prime this and make another take. I started the siphon working 10 minutes ago, and it's already making good progress. In fact, because I'd removed quite a lot of mud already, it's not going to be 10 minutes, probably going to be nearer 15 minutes to practically empty the pond. And what I point out here is what I spent a lot of wasted time and money and materials last year hoping to patch the leak on the outside, and it may have helped a little bit, but basically the pond still drops 6 inches, and in fact you can see water has been leaking out there. So that was a lot of time wasted, and it was because I left it too late in the year to work on the pond when all the wildlife, all sorts, was active. That's the importance of doing it at this time of the year in the winter. So what I point out here are these objects which are heron decoys, and I first put the closed circuit TV in years ago, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago, and found that didn't work at all. You deter the heron. Heron decoys, where they say, oh well, it's a fish, they waste a lot of time on that. That's a new one we're checking out. And the water squirters, which are under need repair, were very successful, and there's videos from years ago showing water squirters getting herons and lots of other things. But recently, and it's on the photo trails, this is in January, the cats have been very effective in scaring the heron away. Right, I'm going to go down now and see, or show you, where this water is going. Yeah, the white pebbles. I threw those down. In slower time would do the job better. I've got the materials. At least we can see where one's walking at night if the automatic lights don't show up. More work to do there, but the key thing is the water flows down into the temporary third pond and into the bog garden, and I don't think it goes any further than that. It soaks away pretty quick, but that's an important plant, and we already had one or two, but I got some extra ones. Gunnera manticata, I think it's called, and giant rhubarb up above one's head. So coming up now, there's one that may have survived that we got several years ago. We'll see whether it comes up, but we managed to get some new ones. You can't easily get them because a law was changed that it had to be exactly the right species, and there were some so-called invasive species that have been banned. So yes, birds are very important to us. Yeah, long-winded video, but for those very few interested, they may better help me in many ways. So I think, yes, one thing I should mention, this was only a few days ago in late January we got this, very, very useful. Obviously it has to be used in the right way, and one of the reasons why things seem to be a bit of a mess, or are a mess, is finding ways of propping up hoses to the right height. But as you can see, in what is now 15 minutes, the water has dropped, getting right down. A lot of mud has been brought out already, and what I hope is that if and when there's time, I better clear the last bit of mud out, and then we can confirm there are no holes in the concrete cracks under that mud, because then the whole lot has to be done properly. That's improvising with clay to see if it has any effect. So, oh yes, what was hidden away there is another thing that to decorate the pond, the crocodile. It seems to be buried in concrete at the moment, but one of the things of looking at the closed circuit TV, not live but replaying what has happened, is you can see the effect, interaction between wildlife. Right, I think I saw Toadie prowling around there. That's Bentley, if you can see him. Yeah, still looking out. So now make way back into the house, and we'll be going into that photo trail soon. So we had started to clear this up, but then when there's work in progress, one needs to be able to grab the tools one needs. This is material, toilet seat I changed recently. Yeah, it's all on the photo trail. So, and there's Snoopy's robot boat. Not been able to do anything on that for months now. Yes, it has its own pages, but if and when there's the time, it'll be made ready for his attempt on the Atlantic this year. So, that's right, isn't it, Bentley? So probably time to go into that photo trail. Or photo trails for all January. Monday the 1st of January 2024, New Year's Day. This is a half-a-minute summary of the total 9.5-minute video. Yes, there'll be sound on that. There's time over at Saskia and Gary's after we saw the new year in. And yeah, do you quite like my beard? No, not at all. Right, so we're now going to the video that was in fact published soon after January the 1st. Yes, Homer's still on guard duty. And something that has been a little project on the side, and I just haven't had a chance to do it properly, is the ferry here. Yes, that's the camper that took Snoopy's robot boat, you'll see in a moment, down to the coast last year. Battle damage. June said Robin did it, Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. The ferry is an important thing, which has been a project which I've barely completed, but we had a lot of fun with it, because typically when the foxes are coming to eat the peanuts and the cameras show what they're doing, also shows their reaction. We get the same thing when people like couriers and postmen come. Basically, we have a bit of fun, and well, for example, you might be looking down that way and then you'll hear something and you say, what was that? What's it? Yes, Robin has to confess there's something tucked away under the gnome, the flatulent gnome. I'll start from about here, I think. Can I borrow that? Come on, Em.
Don't you think it's cool how we lived? The one thing we all have in common is life.
Not interested, is he?
They're trying to integrate it, I think.
Yes.
What's this in here? What are these things? Hello, lady. How's lady?
She's in a box. She's shaping a box.
How's Toadie? Okay, Toadie? This is a late Christmas dinner with Gary and Saskia, and the important person here is of course the pussycat, and he's down here somewhere, probably here, looking for food.
He's about to eat.
It's correct, isn't it? Yes.
That's small enough for him.
Will you follow me about?
Yeah, put the food down and leave that.
I'm hoping I'll be allowed to keep the bit.
Do you like this? Yeah, I'll put it down
There we go. Yeah, that's good. And of course it's only this is all vegetarian food, by the if there's any doubts about
Apart
it.
from the chicken.
And the sausage.
Yes, lovely.
Is that enough for Savvy? Thank you.
You've got nice things to hold the wine.
It's supposed to hold the bottle.
Or is that Red Bull? And of course, this year I'm going to grow a really nice beard, aren't I, Jude? No?
No.
You like this beard, don't you?
Santa.
No.
Oh yeah, I see. By next Christmas. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Next Christmas it'll be really good, won't it? Is that pussycat there?
Yeah, he's just having a
He's
spring.
hiding from the camera.
I'll show you the clothes first.
Since you've had more than 50 quakes
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
Hello, Bentley. Have you been guarding the house? We're not locked back very long from... Yeah. Here's Toadie. Yeah, that's it. Toadie's up here. Hello, Toadie. You keep an eye on Bentley. He's been pinching your food. Yeah, we only just got back a few minutes ago from Gary and Saskia's, and immediately we arrived, Bentley came over into the house in order that he could eat, allegedly. Where's he gone now? Oh, he's gone off somewhere else now. Oh, there he is. Oh, okay. So everything okay, Bentley? Yeah? Why don't you come through here, meet Lady? Here's Lady.
I'm having my breakfast.
Lady just here. Hi. All okay, Lady? Yes? Nice little animals to play with.
I'm serious.
That's right.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Of course, the women are now watching rubbish. Whatever this is. What's this you're watching now?
Witches.
Oh dear. What a load of rubbish. I'll go and relax. Go to sleep in front of the closed circuit TV, I think. Be more interesting than what they put on the telly. Well, before I show you something on the closed circuit TV, at least they put something a bit more sensible on. And any pussycats in here? Yeah, so I think I recognise that film. Anyhow, what I wanted to show you is just a few seconds on the closed circuit TV of when we arrived home. And yeah, we're getting out of the car, and who should be waiting but Bentley. So Michelle comes in, and June, and Bentley saying, "Ooh, don't want to miss out on anything. Perhaps I'll come in and have something to eat." Yes, that's me in the mirror. Good, eh? Now, one thing I'd noticed is looks like little paw prints there, and sure enough, if we just go back not much more than what was it, 15 minutes or so before we got home, and there is a fox eating the peanuts. Yes, That was a bit after 6 o'clock, and we got back at about 20 past to 25 past. So I might have better put some more peanuts out for him. There, I've put a few more peanuts down. So, hello Bentley, you keeping an eye on anything coming for the peanuts, are you? Thought that's what you were up to. Okay, just stay on duty. What are you up to now, Toadie? You're a bit wet. Yeah, your favourite spot's up here, isn't it? So why don't you get up there and then you can watch the television or whatever. Yes, take it easy. Looking into the back garden from the kitchen. Yes, some work has been done on temporary mirrors. Samantha's making herself a coffee. That's about it really. No photos until Thursday the 4th of January 2024, and only half a dozen of those, so they won't last very long. It was just Michelle, June and the tracker and the position on the map, and that's about it. Yep, that's it. Friday the 5th of January 2024, just 10 photos, including a nice one of June and myself at the bandsaws. So yeah, we took a trip down to the village, and there's Raj and Bal and Romeo, there's ourselves, and then we get back home and there's Homer on sentry duty, and in the porch the flatulent fairy. So that's those photos. Saturday the 6th of January 2024, just 4 photos, and then several days without any photos. So first Homer and Robin with a beard, and then the front porch with the flatulent fairy, and that's it. Saturday the 13th of January 2024, just 13 photos, including the Chobham Cobham Model Flies work party and Robin's, and then mostly of the Pussycats, including, yeah, right, there's the photos of the work. There's Lady and Toadie in the foreground on Michelle's bed. Hello Lady. And the unicorn. There's the little trip out and walk across the common, and yeah, there's the cats again, Lady, and there's Robin, looks as though he did a bit of work on the flatulent fairy, and that's it. Sunday the 14th of January 2024, and the main event was their trip up to Raunds for the baby shower, and well, there's a summary here. Yes, there's the happy couple with loads of balloons for the party, loads of good food. Back garden, hadn't been there for a little while. Yes, anybody could have seen where we were, even if they didn't know what we were doing. Video chat with Michelle on her way back from Norway, Trondheim, by Gatwick, and I decided to take a walk down to the Comrades Club at the end of the day, since nothing else was happening. Enjoy the atmosphere, glass of wine, game of pool with my friends from the restaurant across the road, and that is pretty well the end of the summary. So now we're going into the photos. So that's where we were going for the baby shower, up to Raunds, and these are the photos as we took them. So Saskia arrived to act as chauffeur. That's the cat, we don't know where it comes from, but it's the top cat in the area. And then through the village, past a few well-known landmarks, including the Jade, the Raj Vuj, and the Cords Hall. So then, where are we off to? Yes, sat in the back. Oh yes, phone call. Yes, to Gary and Sally, letting them know, yes, we're on our way and when we expect to get there. Anybody could see their progress on the tracker, of course. looks like the sat nav is being used there. Quite good, it shows up traffic delays and things. So I guess we're getting there now, close. They decided they wanted to pop into M&S for some stuff, and then there I saw photographs I hadn't seen before. Years ago they had a lovely photo album that they put together for the event. Yes, there's the happy couple and little forms to be filled in, games, and video chat with Michelle on her way back from Norway. Yes, lots of decorations, lovely party it was, lovely food. Hadn't eaten as well for a long time. Had a look round the back garden, and yeah, some lovely little spots there, including the Wendy house. That goes back a bit, and thoroughly enjoyable. So back inside, have some more food, and then it looks as though we're on our way back home now. Yeah, a bit of rain, and so back home. And yeah, I'll probably check the trackers just to confirm that we were seen to be where we were. That's the Spot Satcoms tracker, and then the other tracker on the contact page, and yeah, showed everywhere I'd been, including in and out of the house and back home, just here. And then the flight has been delayed, not going to be back until a few hours, and so I decided to stretch my legs, take a walk down into the village and into the clear, and a glass of wine, and oh yes, a chat with Paul, and yeah, just checking the Wi-Fi there, and a game of pool with my friends from across the road. And yeah, so that wraps up that photo trail. Monday the 15th of January 2024. Less than a couple of minutes of photos, including this summary at the start. Yes, I did a bit of work in the garden. Main thing was a trip to the Bansals with Paul, and yeah, we took a takeaway over to the Comrades Club. He showed me how to play pool, and yeah, back end I watched the closed circuit TV. That was time for bed. So that's the summary. So here are the few photos I took. That was, we thought was going to be the solution for the third pond down the end, and in fact something else was used instead, but did some other work. Main thing was the trip into the Bansals with Paul and doggy Romeo. Hello Romeo. And yeah, what happened next? Yeah, we went over to get a hamburger, but we took it over to the Comrades Club and they got a special room for it. Hadn't been in that room before. Interesting maps on the wall, and yeah, had a game of pool with Paul and yeah, women are watching The Little Mermaid, I think, on the TV. So I thought, no, that's enough for me. I looked at the closed circuit TV for a little while. Yeah, there's the fox coming for the peanuts. So while they watch that, it's time for bed. So that's the end of that photo trail. Tuesday the 16th of January 2024. First a minute summary of what's an 8-minute photo trail. And some time was spent working in the garden. And, well, I say work, it was getting ourselves organised in terms of where bird feeders kept. Oh yes, on to other subjects. And pub grub. And coffee back here afterwards. Trip out. Got some hawthorn trees and bushes. Birds like nesting in those. There's the tracker links of where we went, including the red line. There's Bentley from opposite. And watching the foxes on the closed circuit TV. glimpse of Paul and I the day before. Down to the Comrades Club, glass of wine, back, and time for bed. So that's the summary. So now into the photo trail. Yes, that's Lady, and that is Bentley, and that's Toadie, the pussycats that frequent the house. Samantha working from home, looking out into the garden and the patio. Yes, there's quite a few artifacts, I suppose one call them. They're starting to get organised on where they're put as the construction work is done, like shelving, but mostly it's a process in the garden, including a third pond. Now, at first I thought I'd make that out of plastic, a temporary pond of course, but you'll see later that we came up with a better solution. So that's, yes, the junk heap round the back. So there's a bit of a tour of the back garden as it was in the middle of January. So yeah, coming back, and the pond at that stage completely overgrown and some things to keep the greenhouse above freezing if we do get frosts, and we've been lucky on that front, very few. And yeah, getting ourselves organised in terms of where the bird feed is kept, and there's various cupboards I've managed to get from charity places that are on the patio area, and then of course a lot of the bird feeders have been there for years, but getting to the stage you get the routine of knowing where the food is and putting it in the feeders. Junior's quite fussy about what food goes where. So, right, in through the back door, down through the garden, yeah, looking at the bird feeders there in various places, and down to, yeah, there's one up there, and June gives instructions on exactly what food goes into what feeder. I find it rather confusing. Yes, don't let it get on the ground, she says. So that's the feeder down the end, and looks like some food is being rustled up, and of course there's tennis on the TV. Oh yes, time for me to update the graph of total graph of total deaths from the Office of National Statistics. That was an idea from myself back at the beginning of COVID, but in fact it's far more valuable than just COVID, seeing where there's a problem. Oh yes, the red line. So I know on that occasion their phone wasn't working, but we were able to help them on that front by telling them when we went there. Right, looks like the lads are arriving to rendezvous, and Stuart's driving, chauffeur, to the red line at Lightwater, and we all choose different things to eat. Yeah, love the place. So that's what I tend to have. So, and then back for coffee here, and then the lads leave, and then June and I are probably off somewhere else to get some more stuff related to the garden. Yes, that's one of the trackers, the Satcoms tracker. And where are we now? We're going to Oak Tree. Oh yes, and the hawthorn trees. And there was more than one trip getting those. On one occasion we were able to get 3 of those into the back of Robin's car. But we also got some smaller versions as well. And there are various variations on them. So get him later in the day, and oh, it looks like we picked up some turf as well, but that didn't work out as a particularly good idea. Got better solutions for that, like bark chippings down the end where the turf won't grow. Yeah, looking at what's on the trackers, so it shows where we went that day. Anybody could follow us just by going to the contact page, and further earlier, that's the Red Line. So that was the trip at lunchtime to the Red Line at Lightwater. There's Toadie relaxing. World of Water. Oh yes, I was looking at plastic ponds. I was curious about what we might use down the end for the third pond. Temporary pond, of course, but it's basically the bog garden area, and it was a place to put surviving wildlife when we drain the top pond. Yes, Robin's naughty corner, making a note of anything that happened at the closed circuit TV. It was mostly the foxes that night. It varies through the year what wildlife comes, but the foxes seem regular through the whole year for the peanuts. And then running back from the day before, so that finds Paul and myself getting back from the Comrades Club and our game of pool, and probably a bit of relaxation out on the patio earlier. And what do I see there? Yes, Toadie relaxing. Looks like Robin's off again, probably just to give myself some exercise to walk down to the village, I'm guessing. And where'd I go? Oh, that was the library where there was another meeting. One stop, probably to pick up some cash. I might have picked up some other things as well. And yeah, into the Comrades Club, have a glass of wine, watch snooker on the TV, enjoy the atmosphere, and then get a bit more exercise walking back. So back home, into the house, June's watching something on the TV, time for bed. So that's the end of that photo trail. Wednesday the 17th of January 2024. First a minute summary of the photo trail, lasting about 7.5 minutes. And yeah, the important thing was picking up those hawthorn trees. A bit of a squeeze, but we got them into my car. Toadie decided to check them out. They're meant to keep things like pussycats away from birds. And worked down the end of the garden, and lovely visit to the Sunninghill Library for a get together with the community police, and half a dozen people turned up. It was a lovely little meeting. And what else happened? Yeah, back home, and yeah, we got that plastic pond given us by the Bansals. So we're now into the evening now. So that was Bentley from opposite on guard duty. There's where we'd been that day, including things like the library and the garden centres. There's the foxes coming for the peanuts. There's the cats relaxing while they watch something on the TV, and time for bed. So that is the summary, and now into all the photos, including cats exploring around the garden while we're looking at what we're going to do down the end, which is that third pond. It's really a reservoir for wildlife while we're working on the other pond, and of course it's the boggy area, so everything overflows into that. So there's our trip to Oak Tree Garden Centre, and we managed to pick up 3 those hawthorn trees and squeeze them into the car. And yeah, Toadie decided to check them out. What's this, he says. And so we get them out of the car, and yeah, oh, there was 4 of them, not 3. And he decided, something to play with. So I move all that stuff down the end of the garden, and yeah, fair bit of digging, including with a pickaxe, to get the hole deep enough. And that's the visit to the Sunninghill Library. It looks like I popped in to pick up some supplies first of all. Yeah, got that in the car. Something's not right, don't know what that was. So unload things like non-alcoholic beer and Red Bull and various things. Oh, that's the trip to meet up with the community police. Lovely little meeting. As I say, half a dozen people turned up for that. And right, back to do more work in the garden. Wrap stuff around the hawthorn trees in case we got a frost, and we were quite lucky on that front. We did have several frosts, but not too bad. So a few pictures looking down the garden and looking back up, and the patio area. Yes, got a shelving there for the various odds and ends. Looks like Toadie having a nap just for a change. And yeah, Bentley on guard duty. What have we now? Toadie sleeping. And yeah, I decided to take a few pictures of where we got to that day with stuff going in or into place ready to be planted or whatever. Looks like I decided to put peanuts out at some stage. Looking on the closed circuit TV, now that could have been live. Yes, Bentley on guard duty in the back garden now. I'll probably check in the trackers. So starting with the Spot Satcoms tracker in the car, and then my personal tracker that I wear. Anybody can see that on the contact page, and that will have shown where we'd been that day. That's where it was now, just here. Yeah, just here. But then logging into the website, I can say, well, where did I go today? And it shows all the places we visited and the route we took, including the Oak Tree Garden Centre to pick up the hawthorn, my visit to the library, meet up with the police, and that looks like World of Water near Squires, and back home. So Michelle's watching something on the TV. I'm looking at the foxes coming for the peanuts. Oh, I had a bit of fun there. I pressed that remote button and frightened the fox away. What did that do? Well, there's a fart machine hidden under that gnome, and I noticed that practically all the peanuts are gone. So time to top up the peanuts on the front porch. And also, yeah, that looks good. And yes, cats are relaxing. Michelle's watching the TV. June's rustled up some food, so I take it into Robin's naughty corner in front of the closed circuit TV, so I can, rather than just seeing what happens to be happening live, I can run from the day before. And yeah, there's a couple of foxes coming at the same time there. And yeah, through till when it got light and the camera switched to colour. And yeah, did the same thing for before midnight for the day before. Looks like I decided to take several pictures because I seen that Toadie was prowling around the garden. So yeah, saw there was a half moon. Camera didn't work it very well, but never mind. And yeah, all the junk be cleared up. Women are watching the telly. Cats are relaxing. Time for bed. So that's the end of the full photo trail. Thursday, the 18th of January 2024. Less, what is it, 6.5 minutes of video? 6 minutes, including this minute's summary. So yes, lots of pictures of the pussycats, and Robin did some work on the flatulent fairy, which is now on duty on the front porch. Yes, you can see what happens there if Robin presses the remote button. Quite a bit of work in the garden, mostly deploying that third pond. Often aided and abetted by the pussycats. Oh yes, I ordered some Gunra manticata for the garden. Yes, so there's the pond in place. Lots of work to be done. Yes, did the closed circuit TV checks overnight. Usual pattern of the foxes arriving. And yeah, also went for the previous day. Yeah, the women watched the TV. Pussycats relaxed. So, time for bed. Yeah. So now the actual photos. Yes, Bentley decided to take the high ground in the kitchen, overlooking Toady having breakfast, probably waiting his turn before he had some. And yeah, hello Bentley. Bentley does a good job. Samantha working in the games room, very untidy. One of the jobs that Robin has been finishing is the fairy. And of course Toady insists on helping and seeing what's going on. And yeah, so that's coming along nicely. And I think after that was taken I added a handbag. Yeah, so it's ready to go outside. And yes, that is operated by my remote button. It's quite fun when I see people or animals arriving, see what their reaction is to it. Yeah, there's lady on duty looking outside. There's Toady. Looks like I'm doing something with the pond. And down the end is where most of the work is going on, because before we do any work on the top pond, we need to have somewhere to put any surviving wildlife, and that is going to be a third pond. Oh, there's a squirrel. And June watching tennis just for a change, Samantha working, Toady sleeping. And so, right, so the first job was to make sure that stream didn't leak. I didn't want the water soaking into the garden rather than going into that bottom pond and then the area at the bottom, which is going to be the bog garden. And yes, the turf is in order to blend in with the pond, so that rather than seeing plastic, there's just, well, ground coming out of it. Looks like what's going on there. Not a lot. Looks like taking a walk down to the village. And yeah, popped in for an old bit of piping. Might be useful. And yeah, Bentley come over for lunch, I would imagine that is. Watched by Toady and lady relaxing. Michelle looking at things. I'm looking at the closed circuit TV. Yeah, late in the day now, so I'm probably doing the checks. And Bentley, and what am I doing there? Oh yes. Right, I placed some online orders for Gunra. That's the giant rhubarb. We do have a couple of surviving plants, but hopefully we'll get some really big ones down the end. And looks like I took a few pictures after it got dark, just showing the state of it down the end. And yeah, that's the furniture that's been painted. Half moon. Michelle watching the TV. And what else? Oh yes, I did the closed circuit TV check, both from midnight through to when it got light. And there's a couple of foxes at the same time after the peanuts, and there at the same time are foxes at the front and at the back on the top bridge, all interested in the peanuts. Through to when it got light in the morning, 07:37, and then running back from midnight, similar pattern of foxes coming for the peanuts on the front porch, through till 16:49 when the camera switched to black and white mode. Yeah, June and Michelle watching something or other on the TV, Lady relaxing, Toadie relaxing, time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Friday the 19th of January 2024, only 4 minutes or so of photos, including this minute's summary. Yes, mostly some progress down the end of the garden with the pond number 3. Yes, some smelly plants going in, but also some nice ones to counteract. And yeah, just in case we had frost, well, we did have frost, but nothing serious. And yeah, Bentley and closed circuit TV checks, including seeing the foxes coming to the porch of the peanuts and the back bridge. Yes, evening meal, checked where we'd been during the day. It was quite late in the day before I took any photos, so went into various places and back home. Yes, just here. And the women watched something on the TV, whatever that was, with pussycats. So that was the summary. Now into all the photos. So some plants arrived for the garden, and we also went out and got some plants and to go in various places and made good progress on the stream going down into the pond number 3, surrounded by turf, which will grow into the pond. And yeah, a lot of junk still to be cleared away, but making progress. And yes, got some nice smelling plant to counteract the other plants that I planted, like bog arum, that June doesn't like very much, but they're well down in the boggy area. Yes, a few other garden ornaments. And looking back up the garden, looks like a half moon there. And what else do we have? Yeah, there's the greenhouse and the little paraffin burner, just in case we get a hard frost. Yeah, so there's Bentley looking out the window of the games room. And there's Robin's naughty corner, where he does the closed circuit TV check, first of all from midnight running forward. And there's a fox coming for the peanuts on the front porch. And there is one for the peanuts on the top bridge in the rear garden. And that was until the cameras switched at 7:35. So now we're going backwards from midnight. Similar pattern of foxes front and back to 21:30. Oh no, that was at 21:30, I think. Yes, some interesting things happening there. And yeah, what else? Yes, till 16:59 when the cameras switched to black and white. So now dinner's been called. So we have our dinner. There's Michelle's cat, Lady, prowling around. I take the dinner into the naughty corner. And women watch something on the TV. Oh, I checked where we'd been that day on the tracker. Lots of different places. In slower time one can say, oh, where was it? It would have... Oh, I popped into the... had a reason for that. Won't bother to say here why. And yeah, that was at Long Acres, I think. It's all too quick to catch up. Anybody interested where Robin is or where his tracker is can just go to the contact page, and that's where we normally are, back here. Yeah, so the women are watching TV, and that is the end of the photos that I took. Saturday the 20th of January 2024. Less than 10 minutes of photos, including this 1 minute summary at the start. Yeah, lots of work in the garden and checking for the pond leak, which we had at that time, and lots of work. Yeah, the car had problems. All the cars had problems. June did the big shop, and I didn't get a chance to do any work on the boat, but I checked the trackers. So evening ended with the video WhatsApp chat, which is normal for a Saturday evening with the family, and the pussycats participating until time for bed. Right, that was the summary. Now into all those photos. So Bentley's looking out the back window in the lounge onto the patio, and that's the focus of much of the work. We've got plants that have been coming in, and the pond is being repeatedly drained and then working on leaks. Most of those leaks are in fact round the edges near the top. And yeah, there's Bentley looking out the window at me. So that water is, that's the pond being drained down enough to get in and do work on it. And yeah, that's where one of the leaks has been going, near the fence, under the slabs, I think the root was. So now going down the garden, and that's worked quite well. Yeah, sorry about that. That's our third pond, which is a place to keep any wildlife that we find, and also it's the centre of the bog garden. So the water overflows down the garden and into that boggy area at the very bottom, but going through the other two ponds and coming from the roof. Yes, a lot of junk there that, as it's not needed, it's pulled out, and that's the typical material, fast cement. And there's a pussy cat coming out to check what I'm up to. And there's the cat from the back of us, black and white cat, and the cats are watching each other. There's Toadie on the compost heap, and there's the other cat sat on the fence. Yeah, you keep an eye on him, Toadie. I haven't actually seen them fighting. I think they tend to avoid each other. Right, that's the various hawthorns that I was putting in, I think. So I think I put in four large hawthorns, and then the smaller ones as well that you buy as cuttings for a hedge. There's Lady prowling around the garden as well. Looks as I'm topping up the pond now and then looking for where the water's coming out. And so I go next door, look through the fence or through the gate, and yeah, there's definitely the water still coming through there. So it's a regular check I was doing as I found places where the water was getting through. Right, so that's looking at the process now of checking the stream. Oh yeah, sorry about that, that's the garage, because I had to get one of the cars out. Yeah, so topping up the antifreeze because June had a leak in the water system. So there's the bottom pond where the boggy area will be, and that is the area near the fence. That's looking through. Right, so I think the women are off to Marks and Spencer's at Sandhurst for the big shop, and I check on the trackers. Yeah, that seems to be June's tracker, shows where she's going, and I carry on working the garden, mostly put in plants. Like that was a lovely smelling plant. Yeah, the right sort of compost with it as well. Yes, at least we've got some shelves now around the patio for the various little presents and things. Right, that shows they've arrived at Marks and Spencer's, and yeah, there's some things I've ordered. And that's where they're coming from. Up in Norfolk, I think that was. That looks like Bentley's come in for lunch. Going back down to that boggy area, pond number 3. That seems all to be working properly. And what are we doing now? Relaxing, probably. Oh yeah. Oh, it looks like they're on their way back, but they've maybe stopped at a filling station on their way. But yeah, there we are, coming along the A30. Oh yes, they stopped at the Esso filling station, obviously going to top up with fuel. On their way back. Oh, I would expect them to be arriving soon, but in fact, no, they've stopped in the village. So, I wonder what that was about. Ah, looks like they popped over either to the opticians or somewhere nearby. Ah, antifreeze. Might have picked up some of that on the way back. I checked the trackers out, including the spare spot satcoms tracker. Very little time to do any work on the boat for some weeks and months now, but all a matter of priorities, like grabbing the weather when we can do things. So there's Lady. Okay, the women watching TV. Looks like into evening meals now. I'm checking the tracker. That's the satcoms. Spot 2's okay when the batteries were charged up. And then the other one, the spare spot T2, and that was playing up. There's a bad connection there. I'll get around to fixing it sometime or other, but no idea when that'll be. There's Toadie relaxing. There's Lady, Michelle's cat. There's the SOS tracker that June often carries around. And I'm now looking at where they went. And one of the things they picked up was from the chemist. Medicine for coughs. And yeah, still checking trackers. Toadie relaxing. Looks like I'm listening to the Radio 4 news. They're watching the TV. I'm in my naughty corner. So after watching the news, probably time to have something to eat. June's rustled up a pizza by the look of it. Looks like Michelle is watching a Disney cartoon. Was it Nemo or something? Right, looking at the foxes. That's live. Fox just outside. 2 foxes on the top bridge having peanuts. And then June's called to say dinner's ready, so I pick up my pizza, take it into the naughty corner where I can eat it, watch the TV. Not the TV, that is on. Watch the closed circuit TV. But it was also the time for the family video WhatsApp chat. So, looks like the women are dozing off to sleep there. There's the pussycat. Yeah, so the video WhatsApp chat. And then they continue watching the film. And I say, right, time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 21st of January 2024. About 6.5 minutes, including this minute summary of photos. Yeah, lots more work in the garden, lots of pictures of pussycats, including Lady and Bentley from opposite, and our cat Toadie. June watching the TV. This is at the back end of the day, me checking the closed circuit TV for the last night before. foxes front and back. June watching the midwife, and I off to the village into the Sunninghill Sun Comrades Club. And of course the important thing is the guys you meet there. And then back home. June's still watching the TV, so time for bed. That's the summary. So now into all the photos. Yeah, we're gradually getting a bit organised, but it's taking weeks and months. So we're now going down to the end of the garden. Yes, that's the old boat that had rotted away, but we found a place for it in the bushes. And various plants already starting to come up. So we've got to be careful with what we're doing not to mess up plants that are already there. And yeah, around to the junk heap. There's lots of stuff to be thrown away there. Trying to organise what's worth keeping and what's not, but that takes time. Meanwhile, I have to grab the weather to do the work one can. Around near the greenhouse, yeah, there's a hawthorn there. And of course the main work is on the top pond. Yes, hard work. So, yep. So, women checking various things, watching the tennis. And might have had a glance at the closed circuit TV then. Oh, the newsletter. Yes, I made an update or two to the newsletter. Yeah, there's Lady Annoying June. And yeah, looks a bit of a wilderness then, but then of course this is January and it's only a few weeks into the work. And yeah, having to top up the water because we've got a water leak on June's car. She wanted to pop into Lakeland, and you'll see in a moment what it was for. I wanted to pop into Wicks, get more cement and compost for the work being done, and then back into the garden. You see there's a new gate there in the side pond. So matter of putting rubbish in the right place, following June's instructions. And looks like the fairy's on duty. Ah, now that's what June went into Lakeland for, the soup maker. Right, and that tracker shows where we went. And my personal tracker, which I tend to carry most of the time, anybody can see on the contact page, and that shows the visit to various places, including Wicks at Bracknell, and back home. Yeah, just here. There's Robin's naughty corner. There's the weather, and of course that's very important because knowing that some showers are coming in or heavy rain, one can do the necessary work, even if it's only a few tens of minutes. Grab the chance while one can. Oh, that's the a crime video that has been made public after several years after checking with the person who'd been burgled. And yeah, it's in the newsletter. And yeah, checking the closed circuit TV. Visits for the peanuts by the foxes to the front and the back. Peanuts left on the top bridge. Through till that was 7:42 when the cameras switched to colour. And now I'll be working back from midnight, coming back for the day before. Yeah, same sort of pattern of foxes, and through to when the cameras switched to black and white, 16:57. Put the peanuts out, and Toadie decides to have supper. June's still watching the TV, so Robin decides to stretch his legs, get a bit of exercise. Yes, the wind was so strong it had blown dustbins over and all sorts of things. So down into the village and into one stop, probably to get some cash. Don't rely just on credit cards. Into the Comrades Club, have a glass of wine, and of course the important thing is the guys that you meet and chat to. Local guys from various places across the road and not so far away. And then back home and back into the house. Yes, June's still watching the TV, so time for bed, and that's the end of that photo trail. Monday the 22nd of January 2024. I think it's about 6 minutes of photos, more than 7 minutes including this summary. So I decided to check out that weather site, or the rain radar site, and it was really interesting. Those guys who set that up, and of course the Met Office site is still very important, not least for wind predicted. And of course the main activity is in the garden. So there's a gate going up onto the little pond, going off with June. And one of the places, of course, is my favourite scrapyard, Ascot Metal Recycling. And I did in fact end up doing a deal for some furniture to go in the garden. There's the tracker, can show exactly where I've been, anybody can see that. And there's the black and white cat checking out a mirror on the closed circuit TV. And the foxes. So the back end of the day I'm checking the TV, closed circuit TV, and ladies prowling around. So time to bed. That's the end of the summary. So now into all the photos, which will be another 6 minutes or so. So that's earlier in the day, me checking out the meteor radar site. I think they're based in Switzerland, but I found their site useful in terms of the individuals and the history of when they set that site up. And the Met Office, of course, have been around a good few years. Used to be at Bracknell, and I use that site as well. Very good to know not just what's happening that next day, but also in the hours to come. And an update to the newsletter, which is a communications aid, even with neighbours, about work that's going on things like the pond. Yes, that pond, that's the major activity for the winter. Obviously it's going to look prettier at the end of it, but the most fundamental thing is fixing the leaks in it. And the next pond down, which the top pond flows into, is going down now into a third pond, which will be the centre of a little bog garden. The temporary solution is somewhere for us to put any wildlife. Yeah, I decided to put the peanuts out a bit earlier in the day, so I put them in a few other spots apart from the obvious places, and that's where the bird feed stuff is, although June knows where things are, and it's not labelled, so it's not clear to me. Looks like June's rustling up lunch, and yeah, I'm just checking the trackers in terms of where we've been today. Yeah, that was June going off to the supermarket, I think, and yeah, it's probably around Ascot Hardware. And where else? Oh, back home there. And then June's tracker. And yeah, looks like Tony's having some lunch as well. There's that gate. And oh, I've been called for lunch halfway through doing a job. I've put in some hinges and things, put that gate in place. And Tony's checking out the fort that's been there for a while in the back garden. So yeah, that gate's in place. Obviously needs some creosote and things. And that's planning our trip out to a few practical places for shopping, but also pharmacies to get some medicine, I think cough medicine. And there's Ascot Metal Recycling, my favourite scrapyard. And yes, that's the seat which I ended up buying. Not that day, it took a little while, and yeah, going off to other places. So a lot of them were pharmacies. It was interested in checking out the, obviously to find one that had what one was looking for in stock, and so it was a case of using their time efficiently, popping into pharmacies and also getting the stuff that I needed. Oh, it looks like I'm going to check my tracker now, showing where we went. So the P's are where there was a pause, could have been in traffic or typically stopping somewhere. And there's that Ascot Metal Recycling. There's other places, all too quick to keep up. You can always freeze the video. Right, and yeah, Hillier's Garden Centre, and back home, just here. Right, so it's getting later in the day now, so probably eating and doing the closed circuit TV check for the night. So there's a fox coming to the front top bridge. There's that black and white cat. Doesn't look as though it's seen itself in a mirror before. And that check was through till the camera switched to colour, and now we're going back from midnight. Similar pattern. Foxes come into the front porch for peanuts. That's probably me returning from the Comrades Club. I think that's where I went the day before. Yeah, still working backwards. There's a fox on the top bridge. And that's me going off to the Comrades Club. And there's the fox that was there before I opened the door to go off. There's a fox on the top bridge, and there's where the cameras switch from colour to black and white for the night. And so that was done. Looks like having my meal now. And yeah, they're watching something on the TV. And Lady is prowling around. Yeah, something about robots by the look of it. Yes, as I say, one of the things I did at uni back in the 60s. Oh, that's probably Samantha coming back from social tennis. And there's Lady again, Lady checking out the model aeroplane that's just right for carrying up a camera. And time for bed, so that's the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 23rd of January 2024. 10 minutes of photos, including this 1 minute summary at the start. Yes, I've got some smelly plants to go in the bog garden. June doesn't know about those yet. And yeah, we also took a trip out, got various things, both for the garden, a new TV, and various other stuff. Oh, medicine. Yes, that was right. Very difficult to keep up. That's Bentley checking what I was doing, tools and materials, and looks as though it's getting late in the evening now. Time to eat. Look at the closed circuit TV on what happened the night before, and yeah, that is the kite feeder with what I'd put in it in addition to food. And yeah, that was a hobby a few years ago. So time for bed, and that's the end of the summary. So now all the photos, obviously looking at the rain radar, so we can allow for gaps in the weather. We thought we'd take a trip to Forces Support to look for another television, because we saw some second-hand ones there. That's in the middle of Wokingham. Also stuff arrived. Plants I ordered. Don't think June knew about that one. That's bog arum, very smelly plant, but looks nice. So we're off on our trip, June driving of course, because Robin still doesn't have his licence from the DVLA, through Ascot Hardware. And that's one of the bits for the, it's a sieve basically, for the bird feeder for the kite. It's got to be quite large. And into Wokingham, and in fact Robin was born in Rose Street. and that's where Forces Support is. Lovely charity for the army, and lots of stuff there that we've got from quite a few visits now. Some interesting graffiti. June's checking out chemists within a short walk, and yeah, that's probably where I was born, in Rose Street. Can't be absolutely sure. There's Wokingham Town Hall, and she's now trying Boots Pharmacy or Chemist. It says automatic door, but it doesn't open. You've got to go to the correct door. And yeah, June managed to get off the shelf the medication she was looking for, basically for cough mixtures, I think. Yeah, helpful guy there at Wicks to find materials I wanted. It's all a matter of knowledge, you know. And then into Curry's, and June decided to buy that TV, so we got that in the back of the car now. Yeah, we looked in the range for a few odds and ends. Oh yes, large polystyrene balls, because I'm a bit of a safety freak, and it's to make the clothesline safer. And right, where are we next? That looks like we're going into Longacres. Yeah, lovely tribute there to Peter Long and his wife, who set the place up. And what do we get there? Probably rocks. Yes, we've been getting lots of rocks from places for the work that's going on, rebuilding the top pond, but also down the end of the garden, and you'll see that. So we've got the TV back, and so June is now going to get that working, and that will be going into the kitchen, and the one that was in the kitchen will be going in Michelle's room, and that's looking at the tracker. Anybody can see where we are, or at least where the tracker is. So that's the trip to Wokingham and Rose Street, and then to Wicks and Oak Tree Garden Centre, and then Longacres. And anybody can see where we are by the contact page. Yeah, and back home just here. So looking at the weather again, yeah, because when you've got showers coming through, it's useful knowing ahead. So now unloading the car and putting those rocks where they're intended to go. There's obviously going to be plants and soil there as well. And what's that? Oh yes, that's those smelly Calla palestris. I think that's bog arum. Lovely plant, and I decided that's going to go down in that boggy area right at the end, so you shouldn't smell them until you're right near them. But of course we've got a lovely smelling plant near where you would typically sit. You approach it, absolutely lovely. So, but you can't please everybody, can you? So, making a way back into the lounge, yeah, checking the weather, and yeah, might get a shower of rain, but not a problem. June's rustling up lunch, I think, that looks like. Robin's favourite, scrambled egg on toast with smoked salmon. So, relax and eat that. And June seems to be doing well putting the TV in place. I'm now assembling from the bits that we got the bird feeder, or so called kite feeder. I mean, the kite is a bird, but it's a rather big one, 2 metre span, I think that is. And yeah, so that's conventional bird food on it. Yes, that's the products we used. And so that's where that's going. Needless to say, it got painted black rather than bright silver. That was a slower term job. There's Bentley inspecting what I'm doing in terms of the tools and materials I'm using. June's making good progress installing the TV. Now she's setting it up. All done, it says. Enjoy your Samsung TV. Yeah. So that one's working. Then she got the one into Michelle's room, and at that occasion it was just simply popped on the end of the bed and was working, but Michelle bolted it on the wall, I think it was the next day. So yeah, obviously getting late now. I popped out, made sure there was food on the bird feeder, and then I had a bright idea, which is I thought I could make some things that kites like. They like brightly coloured things. They go on the bird feeder, and that might come later. Yes, so the pussycats are eating, that's evening dinner. I checked the COVID page, but it seems they haven't updated their graph, so I updated the page. Hopefully that will happen in time. Right, time to check the closed circuit TV overnight, and I combine that with having my meal. And yeah, there's a fox arriving. Hello fox, that looks like a young one. June's watching something on the TV, and yes, it is a young fox. And there we are, at the same time, foxes on the front and at the back on the patio, just outside the patio door on the top bridge. So that was through until 7:44 in the morning when it got light and the cameras switched. Now I'm working back from midnight, and yes, there's usual pattern, and that's probably us getting back from the previous day. And yeah, until 16:54 when the cameras switched from colour to black and white at night. June's still watching that on the TV. Yes, so that's a reminder of the hobby of filming the red kites from the air. And there's the kite feeder in place. And that's the little improvisation. They like brightly coloured things to decorate their nest, so there's some red ribbon, but if they take one of those, there is a laminated business card with it with a little note on the back. Some problems there, but it was not a big problem. Yeah, so what else we got? Yeah, just a reminder about the red kites. Picture up on the room. So that's the end of the photo trail. Wednesday the 24th of January 2024. Hardly any photos taken, less than 2 minutes, including this summary at the start. Paper diary shows that I did quite a lot of work in the garden, but didn't. Anyhow, the summary, and now what photographs there are. Samantha working before they went off to tennis later. Me hit some problems I'd seen before, and I used the workaround, and yeah, there was an email there, and used the workaround for getting past problems that are on Windows 7. And yes, I have got Windows 10 PCs, but there are good reasons for using old stuff. So yeah, all boring stuff that. And what else? Yeah, there's a glimpse of the pond there, and June's tracker in the handbag, so that gets tested all the time. So they're off to tennis. It works quite well despite it being in the handbag and often with the boot the car closed. As I say, hardly any more photos here, even most of the time was spent working in the garden. So you'll have to look at tomorrow's for that. Yeah, so that's the end of the photo trail. Thursday the 25th of January 2024. About 7.5 minutes of photo trail, including this minute of summary at the front. Yeah, I enjoyed watching that old video in 2005 of the red kites, and that was prompted by my making those 2 bird feeders aimed at the red kites if they took an interest. So work in the garden included that gate to make it easier to move stuff in and out of the middle pond, and going out to get rocks and plants. That on that occasion it was from Longacres, and yeah, so we're into the evening now, and me doing the closed circuit TV checks, and foxes coming. Those two didn't get on, and through till the camera switched, and then I probably went back from midnight. And meanwhile, June's watching Il Cacciatore on the TV. So that's the end of the summary, and now all the photos. So watching that video, The Red Kites from the Air, made in 2005, thoroughly enjoyed that. And that is probably, I don't know. Oh, that's the black and white cat from behind us. And I've not seen it fighting with any. They all avoid each other. That looks like Samantha and June getting back from a game of tennis. That's what was going on earlier. And got some cough medicine there by the look of it. And probably various things going on. Yeah, back into the garden. Yeah, so the catches are on the gate. Obviously that's going to get painted so it blends in more. But that works, so the gate can be either open or closed. Yes, there's tools for the job. And that's Lady, and that is the concrete cat guarding the bridge. Not that anything takes any notice. That's the siphon. So the routine was siphoning the pond as low as I can get it, and then finding places where leaks need to be fixed. And there's Lady up on Michelle's bed. Women watching tennis. That's some plants that have arrived, I think. That could have been the Gunner Monte Carlo, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, so one of the jobs involves planting, and that bog garden is your order has arrived. Yes, the giant rhubarb. Well, hopefully it'll grow that big, but it's not quite that big yet. So another order has been posted. I've got two sources for that. And June on the phone, possibly Balbansal. Meanwhile, I'm putting the rocks that we got along the stream, and of course then when the rocks are in the right place, you put the soil and the plants. Looks like time for lunch. Scrambled egg on toast with smoked salmon, and a bit more work, so quite a lot of primroses going in there. Try to put things in a natural sort of way. And what's happening next? Oh, another trip out. Yes, to Longacres, probably to get more rocks and plants. So get back with those. Yeah, so that's taking shape nicely. So I've got saxifraga as well. It's a case of putting stuff in patches so it looks natural. Checking the tracker, should show where we've been. Or at least where the tracker's been. I'm normally wearing it. Longacres Garden Centre. It's getting late now in the day, I can tell. So Tony having his dinner, and I've stolen some meat out of the fridge. Don't tell June, but that is to go in case the kites are interested in those kite bird tables. Any birds might visit for the stuff we put in there. Looks like I'm listening to the news. Thing about hearing. And what's that? Oh, various other things. Yeah, that's to protect the inlet into the siphoning, so it doesn't get blocked. And things going on there. That's the big black and white cat. Got a glimpse of that. So there's me taking my dinner through from the kitchen to a comfy chair in Robin's naughty corner, where I can eat and look at the closed circuit TV. Then June comes in and watches the television, and she's watching this series called Il Cacciatore, the hunter, set in Sicily in the mid to late 1990s, when they went through the peak of their problems with the mafia. And yeah, there's the foxes arriving. There's the two that didn't get on, so one said, no, you're not having any peanuts until I finished, had my share. That varies. Yes, that's it. You looking at me? So that's through to when the cameras switch at 07:35 in the morning to colour. So now I'm working back from midnight. A similar sort of pattern. Foxes eating peanuts on the front porch and on the bridge, and through to 16:54 when the cameras switch. Yeah, Il Cacciatore is still on. I must admit I was watching that some of the time as well. And looks like some more closed circuit TV stuff here. Some of that could be live. Yes, our cat Toady prowling around, and a fox. Yeah, I think I made a mistake there. Not sure what that is. Got two lots of video frame. Not to worry. And so that's the end of the photo trail. Time for bed. Friday the 26th of January 2024. 7.5 minutes of video, including this minute summary at the start. So started with June going off to play tennis with Samantha, and I'm doing work in the garden, including that gate, and more importantly putting in the plants we've got, and of course watched by Toady prowling around. So we've got rocks and plants going in, and the tracker shows them coming back, and then they appear on the closed circuit TV. And June has managed to bring back a load of tennis balls she'd found, and of course the cats are playing around, and Toady in the garden, especially when I'm trying to do any work. And so we already had plants. Oh yes, looks like I'm having lunch now. This is just a summary, of course. Goldfish in the pond, and yeah, I wonder what happened to those. So yeah, we take a trip out, get some more stuff, another bird feeder, hopefully for the kites, and yeah, and some jewellery for for the fairy that is currently on the front. So it looks as though we're into the evening now, and June's rustled up dinner, and I've taken it into the lounge. She's watching Il Cacciatore, the hunter, on the telly, and I'm watching the closed circuit TV and what happened the night before, and then it's time for bed. So that's the end of the summary. Now all the photos. So the first ones I took was basically, looked like they're off to tennis, and so I'm checking a few things like the tracker that they've got, so that I can see them coming back, and then I can make myself look busy. So the key thing is now I go out in the garden and start doing some real work. So we're at the stage now of, yeah, we've got most of the things in place. It's the sort of nitty-gritty details. Most important thing, of course, is finding the leaks and fixing them in the pond, effectively a rebuilding of the top pond, but at the same time we're making a decent job of the bottom of the garden, where the stream flows from the ponds into the boggy area, and of course Toadie's prowling around following me. So that's the end of the garden, where we've got the third pond, which is the centre of the boggy area. Looks like they're on their way back. So yeah, appears on the closed circuit TV, and there they are arriving, and June has brought back all those tennis balls she'd found. Not sure what she's going to do with them. and Bentley's decided to follow her into the house. Oh yes, looks like we've got some more odds and ends. Oh, there's the tracker. That's the one that's in her handbag. And so they're offloaded. Samantha's still doing a bit of work from home. And I'm back into the garden. That heron fence ends up going. And yes, that's Bentley decided to play with toys in the lounge. And what's going on now? Yes, pussycats eyeing each other up. Bentley and Toadie tend to work and play together quite a bit. So it looks like middle of the day now. Yeah, I'm sort of finding quite a lot of stuff now which I'm moving into the second pond, the so-called duck pond, even though I haven't got any ducks in it. And they're mostly things like snails and frogs and things. But yeah, that's the tap that I turn on and off when I want to top up the pond. There's more than one route for that happening. And checking next door, and that's dry at the moment. But when we top the pond right up, of course, if there's a leak, it has been going under the slabs and into next door. Right, that looks like a trip out. So what's happening next? Oh, yeah, June did a bit of shopping. That's what she did. Went to Tesco's. That's her drying out all her tennis balls that she'd found lying around in the bushes and things. So what am I looking at now? Just checking the tracker. What trackers? That's the one that June normally carries. There's Lady, Michelle's pussycat. And that's the top pond. And we're at the stage of a repeated process of siphoning water out, looking for places where water might come out. In retrospect, it turned out that a lot of water was coming out just because the pond wasn't absolutely level. It was coming out over the side. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure what that... Oh yeah, that's the tennis that she's watching. There's Lady, not that interested. Ah, now that shows water coming through, so that shows that, just confirms the leak hasn't yet been fixed. That's after topping up the pond. And yeah, so that's turning it off. And so we probably repeat the process of siphoning and fixing things. So not quite. Yes, that's the siphon going, and I've got a net there in case there's any wildlife, rather than just going anywhere. We'll see. And yeah, hopefully. So that's a planned trip out to Wicks at Bracknell. Yeah, pond siphon in there. Siphons very quickly. It's the topping up that takes the time. So normally, if we're going to take a trip out, it'll be when the pond's topping up, which takes typically 3 hours or more. So yes, now there's some fish, and that reminded me that there must have been some fish in there at some stage. But I don't remember actually moving those. Yes, June looks a bit glum there. I wonder why. Probably all these trips we're having to take to pick up materials. That's my tracker. Anybody can see where the tracker is, and that's probably me if I'm wearing it. And it looks like we've taken a trip out. Yeah, June driving, because Robin still doesn't have his driving licence from the DVLA. Past a few landmarks in the village. And oh yes, Robin's favourite scrapyard. And that is the bit of furniture which he did a deal with. In fact, they delivered it. So back through Ascot. into wicks. That's probably in wicks in Bracknell. Some odds and ends that I might use. Tool station and oak tree garden centre. Things like stones. That's the sort of material used for the paths where you want them white to be seen. And we're also using the opportunity to visit a few other places as well. Ascot Hardware, another one of those sieves. So I've now got 2 sieve based large bird feeders suitable for the red kites as well. So it's not just bird food that can be put on them. So it looks like we're on our way back home. Yes, coming into the house, and there's Lady looking out. There's Michelle up and looking around. Oh, it looks like a tap's going on probably there. And yeah, just checking the trackers just to see that they work and show where we've been. Ascot Metal Recycling and Wicks, Oak Tree Garden Centre, Ascot Hardware. I think that's a bit quick for me. And back home, just here. Oh yes, got ourselves organised in terms of the bird feeders. There's a lot of them are the same ones that have been in place, but it's making sure that the food for the birds is put in the right place. And yes, so I put a mixture of bird foods on those large ones. That shows the temperature very nicely. Yeah, quite hot really when you're doing work. Oh yes, that looks like a lunch snack. Oh no, no, that's what I've actually popped in the bird feeder. One of those spicy sausage things. I say the bird feeder. I mean, all sorts of birds might eat meat. That's a trip out. And where are we now? Oh, that was to her friends. Oh, that's some jewellery. And I found a suitable place to put that on the ferry. There's a lady looking out the window at me. And it's getting late in the day now, of course. So it looks like the pond has been topped up. Rough notes, yes, what's that? Looks like, yes, dinner. So they eat in the kitchen, I take mine into the naughty corner in the lounge so I can eat sat in a nice comfy chair and look at the closed circuit TV. June watches Il Cacciatore. Oh no, it's not, sorry, it's Ice Cold Murders. I'm getting mixed up between the 2 series. They have some similarities, but no, that's Rocco in Ice Cold Murders. I must admit, I think that is one of the best series I've seen. Deals with a whole mix of subjects. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Closed circuit TV test ended when it got light. Now going backwards from midnight, which will catch me going out. And the fox coming for the peanuts at the front and at the back. And yeah, shows him on more than one camera. 1657 is when the camera switched from colour to black and white. And time for bed, so that's the end of the photo trail. Saturday the 27th of January 2023, about 7 minutes of photos including this 1.5-minute summary at the start. Yes, work in the garden progressing, watched by cats, probably exercising quality control. You'll see a few examples. Robin works on his second bird feeder aimed at not only any bird but the red kite, and that's going to go on our flat roof. Watched by a camera. And there's the little things that they might decide to take away with a message on. Yeah, back end of the day, time to eat. June watches Ice Cold Murders on the TV, and I do the closed circuit TV check. Yeah, the usual pattern of foxes coming for peanuts on the front porch. And then, yes, during the day that was, the heron caught on camera. How annoying. You'll see more detail of that in the main photo trail. But the main thing is, a cat decides to come along and investigate, and that scares the heron off. Right, more closed circuit TV checks. 2 foxes at the same time on the back and one at the front. Yeah, so everybody thinking of time for some sleep, up to bed. So that's the end of the summary, and now into the full photo trail. Yes, Bentley in his usual position in the games room overlooking the back garden, and of course work on the pond is gradually progressing, a process of basically emptying it and looking where's the next place to consider a leak and rebuilding things. And of course the important part of that is down the end of the garden. It'll be the bog garden for bog plants. That's the process of basically filling the pond till it's overflowing. Yes, there's Toadie keeping an eye on what I'm doing. Hello, Toadie. And yes, that's the view from the seat looking down, and that's me collecting some moss from our front lawn, which can be used amongst the rocks there. Oh, that branch was breaking off, so that was pulled down. Yeah, that is coming along, the second kite bird feeder. That's in place under the camera, and yes, Toadie watching what I'm doing, and Lady looking out the Michelle's window. So yes, and those are the tickets in case they decide to take them away to decorate the nest, and if they drop one, for example, people could say, oh, that's where it came from. And yeah, so everybody's having a time to relax after all that hard work during the day. Obviously getting darker, still taking a few pictures out in the back garden, looking down the garden, and those white stones are quite useful when it's dark to mark the path a little better, so avoid treading on plants. Yeah, June's rustled up some dinner, so I take that into the naughty corner in the lounge where I can eat, relax and look at the closed circuit TV. June comes in to watch Ice Cold Murders, one of the best series I've seen, set in Italy of course. And yeah, that's multitasking I suppose, watching that and doing the closed circuit TV check. And I make a note of anything significant in the diary that appears on the closed circuit TV, but usually it's routine stuff like foxes visiting both at the back and at the front after the peanuts. Sometimes you get interesting interaction between foxes and between foxes and other animals. And there's the heron. Yes. How annoying, but good that we caught it on closed circuit TV. So he's flying down, that's where he landed, on the roof, flying down, and of course none of our heron scarers were deployed. Things like water squirters had stopped working, and since then I've put other things in, and there he is. Looks as though he's actually managed to catch at least one fish on camera. And of course there may have been other visitors I missed during the day, but most annoying. Showed that heron fence didn't do any good. But here's that cat which we've seen recently, the big black and white cat. He says, oh, the heron sees him, oh dear, and the heron flies off. So it looks like cats are yet another means of deterring herons. but of course you can't expect them to be on guard duty all the time. So that was through to 8:23 when the cameras switched to colour. Then I moved back from midnight. Yeah, same sort of pattern. Fox on the back bridge and 2 foxes, obviously for those peanuts, and then the front porch. Oh, that's because that's me putting earrings on the fairy, and it looks as though we probably just got back. Don't forget, this is running backwards through to when the camera switched from colour to black and white at about 17:10. So what's probably news, and then the weather forecast on the telly. Everybody thinking, well, is it time to get a bit of shut-eye? And so yes, that's the end of the photo trail. Off to bed. Sunday the 28th of January 2024. 9.5 minutes of photos, including this 2-minute summary at the start. Yes, pussycats appear in this, prowling around, inspecting my work in the garden, including Bentley. He does a very good job, as you'll see, of doing other things as well. And then it's Toadie, yes, siphoning water out of the pond before finding the leaks and then fixing them and filling up again. There's Lady, Michelle's cat. Saskia popped round at lunchtime. I found that the loo needed fixing and measured it up and had to order another one, but it wasn't very much. And yes, blooming heron appeared on the closed circuit TV again, but this time Bentley was watching it very closely, and suddenly the heron realised, oh goodness, it's a pussycat. So the heron flew off. So Bentley did his job well. It took several trips out, I think, and one of them, in the world of water, we got a heron stop, which was another means. And I was also reminded of the red kites, so I got some prosciutto, not to eat myself, but to give it a treat. So that was put on the both bird tables we've got now for the red kites, so, and any other bird. And yeah, carrying on with various things, closed circuit V checks, yeah, looks like June's watching, I think that's Ice Cold. There it is. Not sure what's going on here. Is that the summary done? Yes, that was the summary. Getting myself confused. Yes, and here's the full photo trail with Bentley prowling around, inspecting my work in the garden, including siphoning water out of the pond with a net in case there's any wildlife there that goes through the hose, in which case at least we know and it can be put in the pond. So that's the siphoning working well. And that's that loo seat that I saw needed fixing. I thought, oh, I might better do a simple fix with stuff I had lying around. And yeah, Saskia came at lunchtime, but in fact, no, that was a bodge. So I measured it up exactly. Saskia left and found it online. There you go. And ordered it, so that was done. And back into the garden, looks like the pond's been drained down. Oh yes, looking at the tracker, seeing where I've been, make sure the tracker's working, so anybody interested can say, oh, here's Robin. Right, that's the closed circuit TV check by the look of it. And that's the blooming heron again. However, this was at 8:26 in the morning, and there's Bentley, who's crept up, and he's saying, oh, what's that? So you can see exactly when it was, and then the heron suddenly saw, oh, it's a cat right nearby. And so, oh, I wonder what it's going to do. So the heron flew off. Yeah, so heron says, So Bentley said, wonder what that was. Did his job well. So that was the trip to Waitrose. June did a bit of shopping. Various things, including lots of Red Bull for me and the usual things like milk and things. And I think that's when I actually got some food as well for the red kite. So yeah, checking the tracker, see where we've been. Yeah, there's Waitrose, and looks like I'm topping up the pond there. No, I'm draining the pond. Oak Tree Garden Centre. Yeah, more chippings, white chippings. Makes the path visible. Yeah, quite heavy carrying that around. This is the photo trail of one of the trips through the village. Past a few landmarks. On our way to Oak Tree Garden Centre. World of Water, where I found that thing. Back into Ascot and Sunninghill, the Cords Hall. Back home. Yeah, that was the trip, including Oak Tree Garden Centre. And got some more materials for the garden now. Put the peanuts out early in the day, but might as well do it. Lots of things eat the peanuts. The most obvious ones are foxes and badgers and occasionally deer. Depends through the year. And so it looks as though I'm ciphering and deploying one of the potential heron scarabs. There's the water overflowing down into the boggy area. So that third pond is a reservoir for wildlife. But yeah, no, it looks as though we're filling the pond up. It takes several hours to fill. Only takes, well, tens of minutes to empty. And looks like, yeah, some emails mentioning the red kites. There's prosciutto, Italian cooked ham, lovely to eat. But also, I wonder if the kites like it, or other birds. There's other birds that will eat meat. So, onto the bird table with it. So, along with all the other things that's already on it. Old Toady messing around. It's obviously late in the day now. There's the other bird feeder, which is up on the roof. And there's a camera right on top of that one. So we can see anything that does take stuff from it. Yeah, so it looks like it's getting near meal time. And listening to the Radio 4 news. And looking at the closed circuit TV. Oh yeah, something else to deploy the crocodile. You never know, might frighten a heron. And yeah, so just checking the closed circuit TV, probably live at that time. Probably looking around where Toady is. Right, June's rustled up the food. They eat it and watch TV in the kitchen, and I go through the naughty corner where I can look at the closed circuit TV. I probably had a quick look outside as well. And yeah, so I probably turned off the tap then. That's probably why I went outside briefly. And there's the crocodile. Put that plastic pipe in, I think, somewhere for the fish to hide. Oh yeah, marked more clearly where water levels were on the odd rock. All part of the process of checking the pond. And closed circuit TV check, running from midnight forward. Yeah, fox coming for peanuts on the top bridge and on the front porch. Several different foxes of different ages come through till 7:32 in the morning when the cameras switch from black and white to colour. And there's that blooming heron yeah, so early in the morning, and there it is being watched by Bentley, who scares it away. Brilliant job, Bentley. Yeah, carry on through the tests. Fox. And what have we got now? Anything special? Various things on the closed circuit TV. Through till, that was working backwards till 5 o'clock, 1700, when the camera switched from colour to black and white. So, they're watching, I think that is, yeah, that Italian thing. That's it. That's the end of the photo trail. Monday the 29th of January 2024. Less than 12 minutes of photos, including this 2-minute summary at the start. Yeah, most of the work was in the garden, monitored by pussycats like Toadie, exploring around, including when I flood the bottom pond. He goes to check it out. There's us planning a trip out to pick up things from Wix and Hobbycraft, apparently all materials related to work in the garden, including those large polystyrene balls which are to make that washing line safer. Otherwise you're likely to bang your head on it if you're lucky. Yeah, Gary came around to do work on the cars, start the work because there's a lot of work to be done. One of them is June's car, and I found out that he was a radio ham and has been for years. And he showed me an interesting little tracker that uses radio rather than GSM. And the magazine, New Look magazine, arrived, and I was able to compare that with my favourite issue of the old church magazine. Not just because it had family stuff in it, but other things. And progress on making those decoy goldfish. Yeah, painted them now, and yeah, it looks like time for the closed circuit TV check, running from midnight on the same day forward. June's watching that series. Right, so that was the summary. Now into all those photos, so there'll be a few extra ones. Yes, there's Toadie prowling around watching what I'm doing, which is probably siphoning the top pond. Only takes a few tens of minutes for that to happen. And so Toadie's doing that, and of course when you drop the water it's easier to see where there are problems, and the water ends up going down to the third pond, which is a reservoir for the boggy area. So as a temporary solution, that's where any wildlife can be put that we find in the top pond, like a surviving goldfish. Now that's me netting it out, and better give him some food just in case he needs it in the coming days or possibly weeks. Yeah, so the net is there. Right, you see the water level is low down. The net is there so that wildlife would probably see what it was before putting it into the next pond, rather than it just going straight in. So the water level is a lot lower, but of course there's a lot of mud. So this is their trip out to places like Wix and Hobbycraft, and June's driving, of course, because Robin still doesn't have his driving licence from the DVLA. And yeah, so through, that looks like Chobham to me. Oh, and now Knapp Hill, where Wix at Woking is. So we picked up stuff there which would typically be fast setting cement and maybe one or two other things. And now to Hobbycraft. That looks like a phone call. Yeah, Gary saying what sort of time he was going to be round. Yeah, so there's some stuff we've got from Hobbycraft. And on our way back through Chobham, and yeah, a few landmarks. To me, the interesting landmarks are often pubs, simply because they've been there for a long time. Over the Sunninghill level crossing and into Armitage Court and home. June's left the car on that side of the road, so there's access to other cars. For example, a test run of my car that's showing gearbox problems, and the pond is nice and low, so a case of getting in there and getting mud out as best I can. Yeah, looking at the trackers, anybody can see where the tracker is, and probably Robin, just by the contact page. So there's Wix, and after that was Hobbycraft, and yeah, a few other places, and back home. So selfie of us in the garden, and the large polystyrene balls, so they basically stick on the corners, which are quite dangerous if you stuck one in your eye, if you're tall enough, and at the very least it'd give you a bad bang in the head. So it's a sensible thing to have those corners protected. I made a mistake there, so you broke one. Anyhow, after putting them in, I then spray them so they don't look quite so bright. And Gary's arrived and he's already working on June's car, and it looks like they've just taken my car out for a test run so they can see what's wrong with that. Gearbox problem is what he thinks. That's working on June's car, so he's going to have to order the right thing, but as a temporary measure he put some PVC tape around where it was leaking. And right, lots of these things all going on at the same time, like waiting for the pond to fill, which takes several hours. Oh yeah, Samantha's car had a tyre problem, so Gary was able to sort that. And here's Toadie investigating what Robin's doing. That looks dry at the moment. Yes, and there's a little bit of black paint as well, so those polystyrene balls don't look quite as unsightly now on the corner of the washing line. There's water coming under the fence, so there's still leaks there. I can say now, which is some time after this was filmed, that most of the leaks we found and fixed were near the top of the pond, but hidden by the vegetation and stuff. Ah, that was the tracker that he showed me. That I found out it was a radio ham. Yeah, stuff about that on my radio communications page. Anyhow, siphoning, so we're dropping the water level again, and that's normally a quick process. Yeah, a whole repeated process of checking water, and of course when you're siphoning, the water goes down from the top pond into the next pond, the so-called duck pond, and that overflows down the stream that I've made down into the third pond, which is really just the reservoir for the boggy area. So that will always be wet, even though the boggy area obviously depends on all sorts of conditions, not least rain and overflowing of the ponds. Yeah, it looks like June's rustling up food. I'm looking at that magazine, the new Sunninghill and Ascot mag. Look through that. Yeah, I know Roger Cohen from his work on, I think, printing of the old magazine. There's my favourite copy, 2017 that was, I think. And yes, it had the obituary for Jack Ponsford, but it was the other stuff in it that made it special to me, not least from Air Vicar, and particularly the editor who then retired. Andrew Vallance. Oh yeah, I had articles about the Beatles and things. Lived just down the road from where June lived as a kid, and through to when I met her in 1970. And yeah, so there's the food. I take it into the naughty corner in the lounge. They eat in the kitchen and watch TV. I put that magazine in a safe place in the games room, and yeah, they're messing around watching the TV. And yes, I do a bit more work on those decoys. They've been glued and yeah, so they end up looking like a goldfish with any luck. So yeah, that's what June's watching, various things. Then she comes into the lounge. Looks like I've just turned the tap off. The pond is full. It takes several hours to fill the pond. And yes, looking down into the next pond down, and then the stream, and obviously using a torch there. And so I'm doing the closed circuit TV check, starting with midnight, running forward. Foxes coming for the peanuts on the front porch, and also the back bridge, or rather the top bridge outside the lounge patio door, and through till it gets light. 0734 is where the camera switched from night mode to colour, and now running back from midnight, similar pattern, including me going out there with a torch. That was the night before, through to when the camera switched to black and white at 1712. And there's the TV drama that June's watching. I must admit it was good myself. There's those two decoyed goldfish coming along nicely. Listening to the Radio 4 news, and getting late now, so time for bed and the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 30th of January 2024. 11 minutes of photos, including a 2-minute summary at the start. So obviously most of the work is still in the garden. June saw that the seaters had arrived, or will be arriving by courier, and yeah, we take a run out to pick up some stuff, which includes a pond vac to make it easier doing the work on the pond, including sucking the muddy water out. And also a trip down to the village, and what else? Yeah, that's probably the trip down to the village. One of the reasons for the trip was you had to pop in and see Romeo, the doggy, but also to check out Tesco Express that had opened on that day. And I came away with, yes, some chocolate for myself. Oh yes, courier arrived with the replacement toilet seat, and yeah, those were ready, the decoy fishes I'd made. And what else? Yeah, into the evening, having evening dinner, joined by Bentley, watching the foxes live, Bentley looking out the window, and yeah, the decoy fish, the two of them deployed. Foxes arriving, closed circuit TV checks through till 7:30 in the morning, when the cameras switch to colour, and then back until 1703 when they switch from colour to black and white. So that's the summary pretty well. Time to bed, of course. So now all those photos, you've seen some of them but not all. Yeah, most of the work is the pond. That spray paint was just to mark things like the low and high points where the water, if you don't do anything, what it will drop to and what it rises to. Makes it much easier doing tests, because basically it's a process of siphoning the water out, and obviously mud has to be got out as well, to expose where water can be coming out, which I've found is mostly round near the top. And then when you've repaired it and probably improved the appearance with stones and things, you then fill it up. So it's a repetitive process that's gone on for weeks, but making very good progress. Yes, looks like Toadie's playing with the toys. Ah yes, an email where I mentioned Gary and the fact that I've discovered that he's a radio ham. Been for years, inherited from his dad. Oh, that's the saying that the courier is arriving with the plumbing, and I looked as I translated that into his native language. I'm sure his parents and grandparents would know, even if he doesn't. And so, where is that? Okay, more siphoning of water. Pussycat, Toadie, just checking what I'm doing, making sure I'm doing it properly. And he's thinking, oh, I wonder if anything like a fish comes out that would be interesting. Oh, the net's there. Obviously, it's a means of catching the fish. There's some tips there on basically how to use that pond vac. I found that the siphon was the most simple thing to use. In fact, the siphon was invented, I think, about 2000 BC by the ancient Greeks. At least that was the first time it was written down. Or was it the ancient Egyptians? Might have been the ancient Egyptians. Right, there's the pond vac. So we come back with that. And yeah, unpack it all. Not too difficult to follow the instructions. Some bits you say, oh, where does that go? But yeah, Jim worked it out, and so it didn't take too long to get it working. And the guy in the shop had actually given us an important tip right at the beginning. We found it was quite important to have the hoses roughly horizontal, but anyhow, that's a detail. Right, looks like June is off to see Balpansel, and I think that was triggered by them opening the Tesco Express, which is where their cost cutter business was based. It had been some years since the place closed, and it reopened as that. So meanwhile, work continues on the garden. That looks like I just turned on the tap to fill it again after doing a bit of work. Samantha working from home still. There's the area at the front. There's some water coming out of the gutters. Right, it looks like I'm taking a walk down to the village to pop into the Banstalls, and yes, that's their closed circuit TV, a bit like ours. There's their doggy Romeo. Hello Romeo. He's very well behaved these days. He still likes to lick people, but never mind. And then into Tesco Express. I came away with some chocolate and also food to give the red kites, if they take an interest in their bird tables. So, looking on the closed circuit TV there. Ah, that's what I'm doing is showing the guy arriving, and so here he is, and he's wearing that distinctive red turban, and that obviously goes with a particular tradition, and it only take a moment to Google up and find that. It was interesting, and if I'd have called him, I had the right words to say as a greeting to him, and bye bye and thank you. Right, so just turning off the taps now, I think, and that all seems to be working. Yeah, so that's what we're doing there. Yeah, bit of like hard work. Looking on the tracker now, that shows the trip down into the village. Yes, into the Banstalls and back home. Just here, and there's the courier guy. Ah, Arzandi cars. That's an example of an older guy wearing the same headdress, and that is basically the patch. There's me doing the work with the toilet seat, which was a straightforward job to install. And there's the meat that I'd bought, not to eat myself, but to give as a treat to any red kites interested in what we'd left out. And of course there are other birds that eat meat. Oh, one of those ribbons with the card on it had come out, and the closed circuit TV showed it was simply a gust of wind that had blown it out, so I popped it back in. Now there's the same sort of thing down at the end of the garden. So we've got two of those bird feeders which can have all sorts of things in. Now there's the two decoy fishes, and so we're probably ready to put them to join the other heron scarers. And yeah, so that's me on closed circuit TV putting the food into the bird table. June's rustled up dinner, so they eat their dinner and watch TV in the kitchen. I go into the lounge and go to my naughty corner where I can eat and also look at the closed circuit TV. But of course I have to pop out every now and again, probably to turn off the tap because the pond is full. And yeah, there's Bentley come in for his evening meal. Bentley from opposite. He's good friends, so you call them comrades in arms with yeah. And if you wonder what that noise was, that's a message coming. WhatsApp video chat with somebody, not video chat, photos and things, messages. Right. Yes, so there's one of the decoy fishes. I think it looks quite good. And near it is that reflective ball. You don't know what the effect is, and the answer is you test it and see. So I'm now going through the closed circuit TV checks from midnight forward. That's on the same day. Usual pattern of foxes visiting for the peanuts on the top bridge just outside the patio door, and from the lounge through to 7:30 in the morning when the cameras switch to colour, and then back from midnight. Similar pattern. It varies through the year, including me going out to check the pond. And 17:03 was where the cameras switched from colour to black and white. And there's photographs of the food and tickets and things inside the bird feeders. June's watching the news, joined by Toadie, and I'm doing the closed circuit, looking at the closed circuit TV live, because we've got foxes coming on and off all the time. So it's now time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Wednesday the 31st of January 2024. 7.5 minutes of photos, including this 2-minute summary at the start. Yeah, the women went off to play tennis, and of course I was spending most of my time siphoning water out of the pond, watched by Toadie, and actually shoveling mud out now, so gradually making progress. Gary came round, not only to work on air cars but have a chat with Stuart. Yes, I made a phone call related to the DVLA. Yes, it's all in the public domain for those interested. And Michelle came down and spent some time with the pussycats, including Bentley, who acts as guard duty. And yes, that's working quite nicely. So when I drain the pond, it basically flows down into the boggy patch at the end. So what are we doing now? Yeah, back end of the day, doing the closed circuit TV check from midnight forward. Yeah, foxes coming for the peanuts to 7:30 when the cameras switch, and then back from midnight to 17:08 when the cameras switch. So June's rustled up dinner, and I have that in the naughty corner. June comes in to watch Ice Cold Murders, I think it is, on the television. Excellent series that. And time for bed. So that's the summary. So now let's go into all the photos. You've seen some of them, but not all of them. Yeah, so that's the games room, mostly filled with junk. A lot of it are tools that are being used and materials. So there's the top pond, and yeah, I had the hood up, so it was obviously a bit chilly. It's the wind that makes it cold, but relatively mild. So there's the pond vac being used, but I also found the siphon very useful, and I might have mentioned it before that the siphon was invented about 2000 BC. I think it was the ancient Egyptians, or at least the first time it was put down and recorded. And yeah, so we're getting the water down. There's the water coming out, and the water's now a lot lower, so I can actually get in there. I have to be careful not to slip up, but I get in there, and I got in there with a shovel, so we definitely progressed, got the water lower. And of course it's only when you actually clean the surface you can see where the water is getting out, and what we found is it's tended to be near the top of the pond, not low down. But you don't know without checking. That's Gary has come round to do work on the cars. There's checking the depth. Yeah, Samantha needed a wheel changing on her, or tyre changing on her car. Looks like Stuart popped down for a chat with Gary about work he wants done on his MG. And yeah, just checking the water depth. Looks like June's rustled up lunch for Robin, scrambled egg on toast with smoked salmon. That's Lady, Michelle's cat, come out to check things. Looks like there was a phone conversation with the DVLA. Anybody interested, simply look at the relevant page. And what else? Yeah, most of the work is all related to the pond. It has been for weeks and weeks. There's a little bit of water still coming through next door, and that's a good test on leakage. So where are we? Looks like we're topping it up. That's the siphon being used. There's Bentley come over for lunch by the look of it, and now doing a bit of guard duty, looking out the front window. And it looks like siphon it again, getting it low. There's the water coming out. There's the water flowing down the stream into the boggy area at the end. That's in fact a giant rhubarb plant over the back there. So that's all working very well. I think Bentley was playing around there. And yeah, the gutter I noticed was blocked. And yeah, there's some white spar we got, which is all part of making sure the parts are clear. And yeah, some of the pictures are a little bit blurred, but yeah, there's the pond topped up, overflowing. There's the now I have deployed some of those heron scarers, if they work like that, or they're not so much they're scarers as distractors, those fish. Doing the closed circuit TV check from midnight forward until it gets light. Usual pattern of foxes at the front and at the back after the peanuts left out for them, until the cameras switch. Oh, there's a spider there on one of the mirrors. Yes, 0730 the cameras switch, and now I'll be going from midnight back. Same sort of thing, foxes at the front and the back, and yeah, till camera switched at 1708 from colour for the day and black and white for night. Yeah, June's rustled up dinner, which I take into the naughty corner in the lounge, so I can look at various things like what the weather's going to be like, because you tend to be counting it minutes and hours rather than just days ahead. It looks like I've just switched off the tap filling the pond, so the pond is topped up. Yeah, and that matches up with the marks that I've made to make it easier to confirm that. That's one of the little garden ornaments, solar powered. June watching that Ice Cold Murders, which is an excellent series. I must admit I have to read the subtitles rather than following all the Italian. And time for bed, so that's the end of the photo trail. I should have warned you that it'd be a long set of photo trails in all January. So I'll now go into a couple of clips shot earlier in 2023 on the subject of global warming and the DVLA and my driving licence. So I think they started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rare in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet, because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worried for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request. But when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well. But as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday. That'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.